Thoughts on religion. So, had some thoughts the other day pitched to me by Val, and he said, "What's your thoughts on religion and banning it until you're 16 years old?" And I was like, "It's a very specific age, but I can see why you chose 16, because 16 is the age of consent, right, in England."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, okay, does it make sense? Should that be a thing? Because prior to that, you're way too young, aren't you, to make your own decisions? To make your own decisions.
But on doing what?
What do you mean?
So let's play this out. So you're a religious family,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not trying to indoctrinate your children, let's say, but you're trying to teach them about the history.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, in our way, so I was taught a lot of Sikh history.
Mm-hmm.
How is that harmful? It can be harmful, but I'm saying, what version of it are people scared of?
I think it's the extreme version that people are scared of.
Right.
It's always the extreme, isn't it? There's soft religion, like the stuff that I have and maybe you have to a lesser extent. But then there's proper hardcore militant, everything must be done this way, nothing else is right, this is the way. Yeah.
Yeah, look, and that exists in every denomination, every religion,
Every sect has that, yeah.
way of life. Every sect will have a form of people who practice things to extreme. Now, here's the other delineation: practicing things to extreme in itself, for me, is not a problem. The imposition of that on normal people, or say on me, that's where I have a problem. So, for example, in the way I practice my Sikhi and the views I have and the beliefs I have, those are very personal to me, and I'll share them with people who are genuinely interested. But am I going to go and tell people this is the way you should practice your Sikhi, and if you don't, you're not a real Sikh? Absolutely not. And in the same vein, I don't expect that imposition back. Now, from a personal point of view, if I had been not exposed to this at the age of 16, I don't think I would have developed a love for my history, my language, for my, we can call it religion, at that point. Now, we talked about this on many podcasts before, about where values come from, right? And we know our belief systems, so not religious, generally, all belief systems are formed from a very young age based on what you're taught, what you see, what you observe, all that kind of stuff. A lot of that comes from your parents, but it can be other sources. And if that was completely taken out, then yes, okay, at 16, you may form a genuine love or affection for it. Or you might just be like, no, that's not for me. But for me personally, I wouldn't have it that way, having had life the way it's been for me. And with my kids, when I have them, they're definitely going to be exposed to all faiths. They should have an understanding. They should broaden their horizon. The way in which they practice it when they get older, my job as a parent, my job is just to provide that basis. So actually, you understand how I practice it. You can choose to practice it if you want to. You can see the merits and the other downsides to how I do things. You'll see things in the world. People will tell you things as well, and then it's making that informed decision.
I think having it pushed on you at an early age can be dangerous. So, for example,
Define pushed.
When you're a kid, you're always going to do stuff that makes your parents happy, aren't you? You're going to obey and do what they sort of tell you to do because you want their approval. You want their love, right? Sometimes parents can do things that not unconsciously may make their kid do the same thing in order to get a good response out of them. So, for example, you can do a reverse psychology on a kid, can't you? You can be like, if you don't do this, it's going to make me very unhappy. The kid doesn't want that. They will do the thing that makes you happy, right? Now, if you're doing the same thing with religion, if you're saying you must do your Japji Sahib, which is Bart in Sikhi, right? You must do that every day in the car on the way to school, which is what I did, right? It's great. I
listen to it.
Read it. Like, actually do it. Okay. We did it up to a point and then skip to the end and do the last look, and that's it. But then I didn't know what I was saying. I was just saying it because I'm like, yeah, it's like a song. You can just read it off in the back of your head again and again, right? And that's what I did for years. And then looking back on it now, I don't know much of Sahib anymore because I haven't done it in years. But I would like to have probably known the meaning behind it when I was younger. But I don't think parents think that way. They don't think, let me teach you the meaning. They think, this is how it is. This is what it is. If you say this, you'll be fine. Done. Maybe we will be the generation that changes that and try and impose some basic knowledge on them. So one day they can question the knowledge and dig a little bit deeper. But there's some people out there like that I've dealt with that are Ahmadiyya, which is the baptized Sikh, and they would just spew some bullshit. Like there was one girl that I met her at a Sikh camp. She was, what was she? She was told, if you eat chicken, you will become a chicken. And she firmly believed it. And I was like, who told you that? And did they tell you this to stop you from eating any kind of meat? Therefore, you only eat vegetarian food. And therefore, you are essentially abiding by Sikh values. And I'm thinking, if that was the thought pattern that somebody has imposed on you with that, that is severely twisted. You don't just lie to someone in that way and do that.
Yeah, for the intention of what they're trying to achieve. Because you're right, if in that scenario it's, well, if the explanation is, look, we don't eat meat in Sikh faith. And the reason we don't do that is X, Y, Z. I.e., not based on fear, based on logic, right?
Yeah.
Because there are reasons for that. That's obviously much better. I guess in that situation, it's... Look, I have a much softer example, not to do with...
in that
religion.
situation, it's pretty extreme, isn't it? And this is a person who was a teenager, like, say, about 17, 18. And she knew... She was fully all there in her head. She was a smart girl. But that was what she was taught. And I was like, you've never thought to question this. Like, if I eat chicken in front of you, do you see me wearing feathers? Like, no.
No, but okay. First, let's just take that out. I think the person who's telling them that is not saying in this life, it's saying that if you do it, when you come back, because we believe in reincarnation, you may come in the journey
yeah,
of
you
a chicken.
could say that,
yeah, not obviously not feathers coming out. But yeah, look, and this is something I was thinking about this morning actually on the way to...
you were thinking about chickens and turning into a chicken?
No, not that. The thing with religion, right, is people will come to religion only for two reasons ever. It's out of pain, okay, so dukh, or it'll be because of prem, because of love, genuine love and desire to go there. They're the only two reasons that people will find it. And outside of that, trying to force it on somebody, there is some merit to, like for your example there, doing Japji Sahib in the car. It's very well versed that actually, if you think about reading any form of art as like eating a mishri, you know what mishri is, yeah?
What's mishri?
You know, like at the Gurdwara.
I know what it is, but tell people what it is. Like,
it's hard, isn't it? It's like a dry prasad, isn't it? Prasad, so it's a holy food. It's like a little.
Mishri is it the crystal
mint
one, or is it the
mint? Yeah, the crystal mint.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't know.
I don't actually know what it is, but it tastes really sweet.
Yeah, right.
Sweet. It's
like
basically a crystallized piece
sweet.
of sugar that you eat. That's it.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Let's say that. And I remember someone very, very spiritual saying to me, he said, "Look, whichever way you eat this, right? You this side, you're going to get some kind of fall. You're going to get something from it. You're going to get that mitta feeling from it, right?" And he says, when you're thinking about how you practice Sikhi, you can either be like, "Oh, okay, I'm not able to do this perfectly. I don't know the understanding of this, and I don't do this many hours a day, and I don't do this, He goes, yeah, you can think like that, or you can do something. And yes, obviously, reading something and your mind being elsewhere is not the same as me reading it, understanding it, and becoming part of it, right? And I'll pull on a real example here. When we went on our couples holiday, and we did the Simran together. So guys, on this holiday, we had a harmonium and we did some meditation. And I remember what Yun-san said straight after it. He said, I think you said something like, we haven't done that before, but we felt it.
Yeah.
Right? And the example here would be, I could get you, or you could sit somewhere and you could just say the word Vaheguru, Vaheguru. Vaheguru, guys, is our word for God. And you may not feel it.
Yeah.
But I know in that scenario, whatever the environment that we created, you were really resonating with that job, that Simran. And that's the difference. You're absolutely right. But in both examples, there is still always going to be benefit to it. You don't have the conscious brain as a child to understand that. Absolutely. But you're right. Obviously, having something with meaning, and I say this to people all the time, if we take Mool Mantra.
Yeah.
Right. So Mool Mantra, guys, is the first part of Guru Granth Sahib and Japji Sahib. you read more mantra at age 10, and then age 20, age 30, age 40, age 50. Each decade, the meaning of that will deepen if you stay aligned because of the experience you have in life. And the same thing you read will mean something different to you based on where you are in life. And that's been my experience of my journey in spirituality. But yes, I agree with you. Imposition is incorrect.
I think it has to be in moderation, doesn't it? It has to be. You can't simply just take the piss, and you can't say everything in life, every single rule in life has to come from a Granth Sahib. Like everything in life, every rule you abide by, morality, conscious choice making, it must be done by what's written here. Life isn't like that. You can't do everything written down on a piece of paper and say this is what you live by. Like say the Ten Commandments in the Bible. Christianity. Yeah. Right? Is that Christianity or Judaism? Sorry, I'm really naive here. I think it's the Bible, and I think it's Christianity. Right? Yeah. Okay, so you got the Ten Commandments. No, it's not. No. The Ten Commandments is Judaism because that's
Moses. Okay.
That's Moses, and that's the Old Testament.
Okay, it's still the Bible.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, Judaism, right? Ten Commandments. That's great. What if something is proposed to you outside of those Ten Commandments? Now what?
Yeah. So, I think the thing is, I'm only going to speak from a Sikhi perspective. Sikhi is not about being a rule book. Okay.
It's one of the religions that isn't, to be fair, but people will still use it if they want to suit their agenda.
Yeah. But that's not. That's how somebody's interpreting whatever is there. Yeah, that's at the discretion of that person. But if you think of it more as a guide, look, I say this when I used to teach about Sikhi. I used to say, look, the beauty of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and that was our first Sikh Guru, guys, is that he didn't come and he didn't say, right, I'm Sikh. He never said that, first of all. And this is the only way to God. Okay, never said that. What he said was, this is the way I practice. These are the results of me practicing this way. You can choose to follow it if you want to. That's it. He lived by example. His example is there. It's there as a guide, but the point of it is to say that this is a tested methodology that works, and there's evidence that it works. How much you choose to follow it, how you follow it, how you express it, even within Sikhi, and I say this again to a lot of people, it's people will get to whatever you believe the end point to be of life. Whatever you want to call that, heaven or judgment, whatever you want to call that, people will get there before Sikhism, people will get there after Sikhism, people got there before there was any religion. There are millions of ways to get to that place. Not questioning that. This Sikhism, our pathway, is saying, this is one way to do it if you want to. That's what I say to people. And like I said, there's two things, dukha sukh, right? If there is a certain reason why you want to come into it, and you get really kind of aligned to it, you'll come in. If there's a lot of pain, you come from pain, there's death, there's separation, your belief systems don't work and you come into it, you'll come in. Like the whole thing about in prisons where people found the Lord and that kind of thing. So my belief is there will be a time where people will come to whatever, kind of path of spirituality they need to ultimately find contentment and peace and whatever that is that they want.
Yeah, I guess so.
Moderation. I agree with you. Moderation
is true, but I do think maybe this 16 thing could have some validity behind it because you haven't fully formed your opinions as a person. Maybe you can figure it out afterwards and you can see what you want to do and you can just sort of have a better, clearer mind than say somebody that's sort of been pushed along this road and realise later on it's too late for them.
No, maybe not going to be the way I'm going to do it. Because kids are going to be going to the Gurdwara up until 16.